Students, today we're going to continue working on percentages, and we're going to look at percentages that exist in real life situations. So we're going to talk about percent increase and percent decrease. And both of these situations are where the percentage amount is changing. So we're calling this a percent of change. An increase would mean that the percentage amount is going up, and a decrease would mean that the percentage amount is going down. So in order to find this percentage, we're going to be looking at how much did the value change. Did it change, by 5, by 10? We're looking at the actual amount from the original number to the new number, and that's called the amount of change. So in order to get the amount of change, we're going to have to do some subtraction, comparing the original to the new amount. And then when we're looking at a percent, we're always comparing that change to the original amount. And that gives us a ratio that we can then turn into a percentage. So we're going to go ahead and set up some proportions to solve percent increase and percent decrease problems. So if we look at our first example, we're deciding whether it's an increase or a decrease. So because it went from 16 to 12, we are decreasing. So the amount has gone down. And so the first thing we want to figure out is how much did it go down? So we would subtract the original minus the new, and we see that we have a decrease of 4. So we're going to set up our proportion, and our proportion is the amount of change. How much did it decrease compared to the original amount? And we're going to turn that into a percentage, and we know that percentages are out of 100. So our amount of change here is 4. So 4 is going to go in our numerator. Our original amount is 16. That's the amount that we started with. And we're going to turn that into a proportion. And we're solving for the percent. So my variable goes in place of the percentage because I do not know the percent amount. So now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to solve. So we would do cross product. So we would do 16 times x is 16x. Then we would do 100 times 4 is 400. Now we have a one-step equation. So we're going to divide both sides by 16. So we have 400 divided by 16. And x equals 25. Now, because our variable is in place of our percentage, we need to put a percent sign on our answer. So our answer is the number decreased 25%. All right, let's look at another example. So this time we have an increase. So the number has actually gone up. It started at 45 and it went up to 54. So we again want to find the amount of change. So 54 minus 45. Now you're probably wondering, well, why did I start with 54? Because I'm looking at just the absolute value of those differences. I'm looking at, it doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative, because we already said it was an increase. So I just want to know what's the space, the distance between those numbers. So those numbers are 9 units apart on my number line. So when I go to set up my proportion, I have change. How much did the number go up compared to the original? It's really important that we're always comparing it to the original amount equals the percentage over 100. So my amount of change, the distance between the two numbers on the number line is 9. So that's going to go in my numerator. then I always want to compare that to my original, and my original amount was 45. So 9 over 45, and I'm solving for the percent. I do not know the percentage, so my variable goes in place of the percentage, and I'm going to do cross products to solve this. So 45 times x is 45x. 100 times 9 is 900. Next, we're going to divide by 45. We're solving our one-step equation. And when we divide, we have 900 divided by 45, and we get x equals 20. And again, our x is in place of the percentage, so we're going to add a percent sign. So our answer is our number increased 20%. So we'll go ahead and do some practice on these increases and decreases. Remember, the first thing you always want to do is start by finding out, is it an increase or a decrease, and doing that subtraction. After you find the amount of increase, the change, then you can set up your proportion, and you can solve your proportion using cross products.